this whole review might get a little bit long, so I will definitely put timestamps into the description. I absolutely loved it. Was it one of the best shows ever made? Probably not. There's still quite some things that I would have loved to see made different. Things they maybe could have done better. But overall, I had so much fun with this. It felt like I was back in my childhood, getting dragged into the world of Lord of the Rings, into Middle Earth, and I had lots of fun with this. It's been a while since I've watched a show or a movie in the fantasy genre that invoked that feeling in me, like this show did. I really enjoyed the characters we had. I will talk about them a little bit more in detail in a second. But overall, I don't think there were that many characters that I truly didn't like. I enjoyed the storylines. I enjoyed that they split it up into these four, later three storylines. I liked how they came together. There surely were some things, especially in the beginning, that I had to get used to. Like some of the changes with Galadriel's motivation, why she came to Middle Earth and why she is here, these kind of things. I don't really care about them that much anymore, so it's nothing that I would criticize the show for. I'm watching the show as its own complete thing, not related to the books or anything. And with that mindset, I had a lot of fun with this, really. I think I definitely had the most fun with the Dwarven storyline in this season. But I think overall, I definitely liked the whole storyline. At least from Numenor on, I enjoyed Galadriel's storyline, the whole Numenorians, and then it combining with the storyline of the Southlanders in this battle that we had in episode 6. I think that definitely was the most interesting for me, even though I loved the mysteries we had with the Harfoots and the Stranger, and just what happened in Khazad-dûm. The whole Dwarven Khazad-dûm storyline is just one that I had a lot of fun with, but I don't think per se it was the one that kept me interested in the show the most. I was just on the ride of Elrond and Durin's friendship. That was just the main part of that storyline for me, and I love that. I think the least, I don't want to say the least interesting because I still found it interesting and I still liked it, but not as much as the others, I would say, is the story around surrounding the Harfoots and Nori and the Stranger. Maybe it is because we didn't see that much action. I don't know, that wasn't the point of that storyline though. It was just to learn more about this folk, learn about the Stranger, guess who he is, what he might be, why he is here. And we had our fair share of moments with him against the wolves, or just each time he used his powers and creeped the heck out of Nori. And I think especially the last two episodes made that storyline a lot more interesting. With these, I still don't know what to call them. Is there an official title or name for these white clothed sorcerers? I have no clue what they are, who they are, what to call them. I think they made the story far more interesting. I think overall, though, the show did a good job of finding a good balance between more serious topics, more serious storylines, and more action, and just a little bit more lighthearted storylines with more humorous scenes or just a little bit of levity. And I mean, we still had some more serious topics or more emotional scenes in the lighthearted storylines, like with the Harfoots or like with Elrond and Durin's whole friendship and everything. Those two were definitely the storylines that made me emotional the most. Yeah, but we still had our more deeper moments with that, especially with the Dwarven storyline. I think that was a really good balance of seriousness and humor. I think I said it enough during the last episodes. I just adore Durin and the dwarves and his friendship to Elrond, and that is definitely something nice. I think they also did a great job of balancing the time for each storyline. I'm glad we had some episodes where we only spent our time on three, or like in episode 6, only two of the storylines, and not each time on all of them, because I think that would have been too much. So we only got all four if it was necessary to just move the plot further. And other than that, I think it allowed enough time for you to get into the characters, get into the scene, especially with episode 6. Of course, we have to talk about two of the most obvious positives of the show. First, the visual feast this was. The show looked so gorgeous, from the landscapes to the CG to the armor to just the lighting in some of the scenes was so beautiful, especially each time we were in Linden, but even now in Revion, there were some scenes with Galadriel and Elrond that I really enjoyed. I loved everything we had in the last episode, in just the smoke of red after Mount Doom erupted. That looked so good. The color grading and the lighting of these sets and these characters and just was so good. So amazing. I love to see all of that. And I don't think it looks too fake to accept it, or that it doesn't have the Lord of the Rings vibe to it. It's just more modern. And to be honest, everyone who's complaining about it feeling too polished maybe should take into account that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is 20 years old. You just won't get the same feel to something that is made today just because of the quality of cameras is so much better these days. And it's mainly the more blurry or grainy effect that these old films have to them that makes us like them so much and makes us feel nostalgic because of them, but you won't get that in films or shows from today. I think this is just another thing where people are criticizing something far too fast without even thinking on why Lord of the Rings looks so different to this. It's not that this looks like Game of Thrones or something, it just looks more modern because of the technology that was used to create it. And the second thing that I want to talk about, because I feel like this gets ignored so much in movies and shows, and it's the music. And I think Bear McCreary did such an amazing job with the soundtrack of this show, with the different themes, especially the theme of Numenor. I think it's so creative and new, and I love it. And I love that he even thought about the fact that he wanted to use sounds that we don't know from the Lord of the Rings, because Numenor doesn't exist in the Lord of the Rings, and so this theme doesn't exist anymore. Then it's just these little details that make you realize that he really thought about his work here and what he wanted the music to express for the different characters, for the different folks. I loved the more lighthearted spring sounding music we had with the Harfoots. I loved the dwarven themes, but like I said, I think my favorite score from this show is definitely everything involving the Numenor theme. That is so great. It's so grand and epic, and the first time we hear it, the first time we see Numenor, it's such an amazing scene, especially because the score just paints it this epic. I do gotta say though, I really have fun watching this, even as someone who knows the books, but I just would love to watch the show without any knowledge at all. Like without even knowing the Lord of the Rings. I think that would be such a cool experience because you really wouldn't know about Sauron. I mean, it's basically impossible to not hear about. Even if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, I mean, you still hear about stuff here and there. You still kind of know about the ring and about Sauron. It's hard to imagine if there really could be someone watching the show right now without having seen or at least heard about Lord of the Rings. But they just the whole scene with Sauron talking to Galadriel and saying that he is now freed from Morgoth and he wants to do good and heal the world actually, and wants to do better because of all the things he did, and he wants to forget about what he's done in the past. And I just would love if I could believe in that, just to be disappointed again. I don't know, it's just some minor things where I'm like, "Ah, I wish I could kind of erase all of my knowledge just for the time being, just for while I'm watching the show." I think that would be super interesting. Was Halbrand the obvious choice to be Sauron? Yes, of course. Do I mind it? Not really. I think it still worked pretty well. Especially since they really gave us a lot of other characters who could have been Sauron, or where we at least could guess. And I think the whole theorizing was so much fun. These are things that make weekly shows so much better for me than shows that just release the whole season at once and you just binge it in your own time and then you're done. But with these weekly releases, you have a whole week to discuss what happened, to theorize with your friends, who are then hopefully all at least on the in the same episode, not when the whole season is out. You have to be careful that the other persons are all up to date as well and not still stuck in the middle of the season or something. And it's just, I think, giving people some time to think about the episodes and to theorize and to discuss and just live in that a little bit longer makes the show so much more memorable. Of course, this can lead to the show getting even more negative response because people will talk about it longer. I think it's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones worked as well as it did. Same with Lost from 2004 to 2010. It's just something that unites people all over the world to watch one thing and discuss over it on the internet or with friends in real life. You don't really have that with bingeable shows. Yeah, of course you can discuss about it. I don't know, I just always have the feeling that shows you watch as a whole, you forget easier about or faster than shows that you watched weekly. I don't know, maybe that's just me and how I see this. I think the whole topic of streaming and how it changed our perspective of TV shows is such an interesting topic. I would love to do a whole podcast episode just about this. But yeah, that being aside, I had so much fun thinking of all the different possibilities in the show about who could be Sauron, where the show would go, where the season would end, who the stranger is. It's so much fun. Okay, let's talk about the characters. Let's do this alphabetically and start with Adar. Adar, I think, was a super interesting character to add to the show. It was another one, at least for one episode. It was just someone who could have been Sauron. I was pretty sure he wasn't after just one episode with him. I still think he was an interesting character to see, especially because we got this whole different perspective on Sauron and the orcs from an Uruk himself, from one of the first Uruks, and just the way he perceived the other orcs as his family, as his brothers, and he wanted to be free of Sauron. And now that we know that Halbrand is Sauron, the whole scene with him saying to Adar, "You remember me?" and he doesn't. He says no because I don't know if he said no because he really can't remember him or just doesn't know it's Sauron because he looks like Halbrand now, or if he just wasn't sure it was him. But he seemed a little bit afraid at first, or more like intrigued by him. I don't know. But this scene is super, super interesting. I will have so much fun doing a second rewatch of the show. I mean, I've already seen pretty much all the episodes at least 4 times. So I don't know if I liked Adar. In general, I think I liked that we had this different perspective with him. But other than that, I don't know. We had a huge battle with him, but we didn't really see him in action at all. He was just kind of always just standing there. So I kind of wish we could have gotten a little bit more with him. Maybe see him in action himself, fight himself a little bit more. I don't know, but he got away. So we will definitely see more of him. I'm intrigued to see what he will do now. Okay, then Arondir. Arondir I definitely enjoyed a lot. It was cool having a character that I didn't know from the lore, and you don't know, will he survive? In which direction will he go? I definitely enjoyed his character and him playing off on Theo and Bronwyn and Adar or the other elves on the Watchtower, with him being a little bit more empathetic to the humans than the other elves are around that time, or at least around that area. I mean, it's, of course, especially because of his feelings for Bronwyn. Yeah, I really enjoyed his scene in the forest, where he was shooting all the arrows to protect Theo. That was a really epic sequence. I also really like his character design. The whole armor he has is so cool. It will definitely be interesting to see him along the rest of the Southlanders find their way, find their place in Pelagir. I do wonder how his and Bronwyn's story will go out because, I don't know, I kind of have a bad feeling about them. They are very cute together and I don't mind their romance. It's just, it's such a rare thing in this world that we have an elf and a human love story. It's so rare. Like they said in the beginning, it only happened 2 times until there. And we know it will happen at least one other time with Aragorn and Arwen. But other than that, I don't know, maybe they will just decide, okay, we're doing it anyways, and we're gonna make it work. or it won't end well, and one of them, still probably more likely to be Bronwyn, will die, or at least some other bad thing will happen. I just can't see this romance continuously stay good. I don't know. Talking about Bronwyn, she was okay. I think I enjoyed her scenes with Arondir the most, but I also like that she took responsibility, tried to help her town and the people from the area, especially when they were in the watchtower, and she decided, or she tried to make them all follow her and defend themselves. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of, like I said, I didn't mind their relationship that much. I don't think it was too forced or they concentrated too much on it. I think we had a few scenes here and there, especially in the beginning, where I think they could have done it a little bit quicker and they might have dragged it out a little bit too long. Like we had our first kiss in episode 6. But I think it's okay. It's definitely not too much. Like romances in movies or TV shows are most of the time always a thing that I don't really like because it is just too forced and there's just too much storyline surrounding it. So I think this was okay. We also had some fight scenes with her that was also kind of cool, like in her house at the beginning, and then later on when Arondir was fighting against that one orc and she came in to help him. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would put her onto A or B. I'm gonna leave her on B for now. Okay, next one. Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor was okay. We didn't see that much of him as I first thought we would. Like he plays such an important part for the story of the rings, but we spend most of our time with the dwarves in the storyline and didn't really see him that much. It was definitely cool to see him in this episode and how easy it was for Halbrand to just sneak his way into Celebrimbor's trust because they talked as fellow smiths and he was just so excited about this project. Yeah, it was so cool to see how easily Halbrand manipulated him. I enjoyed that a lot. Other than that, yeah, we didn't really see him. I would say my impression of him is definitely better than it was at the start of the show. But other than that, I don't know. I don't want to leave too many people in unsure. I will try my best to avoid this. So I'm gonna put him at a, I don't know. I didn't really dislike him, but it's not that he gave me much to really like him. So I think he's definitely in the okay section. Next, we have Disa. Oh, Disa is going straight up to S tier because she was awesome. Each scene we had with her, she absolutely killed. She nailed her role so much. I had so much fun seeing her on screen, interacting with Durin, interacting with Elrond, with the kids. The actress did such a phenomenal job with her character. I think for the first female dwarf that we see in this world, she is amazing. And I can't wait to see more of her. Alright, staying with the dwarves, we have Durin III and Durin IV. Let's talk about Durin IV first because he's going straight up to his wife as well. Definitely one of my favorite characters of this whole season. So entertaining, so grumpy, but with such a soft spot inside of him. He was so adorable. Oh, especially in episode 7, he completely destroyed me with his emotions and his fear for Elrond. It was so cute. I think Durin and Elrond's friendship, I'm gonna say it, it's even better than Legolas and Gimli. It is maybe what Legolas and Gimli end up being in the end, but they are just already there. They've never had to overcome these racism problems that the elves and the dwarves fight later on. So yeah, Durin definitely S tier. He is insane amazing. One of my favorite characters of this show. Had so much fun with him. And his father was okay. I'm gonna put Durin on a C. His actor definitely did a great job, especially in the scene with him and Durin in the end of episode 6, where they were having this huge fight. And I think the only thing that is kind of redeeming him for me a little bit is that I know that he is right about his warnings, but I still think he's just, I don't know, I just think he could be a little bit more open towards his son and towards the elves. Because it's just a thing that they know their friends, or that the elves and Durin's friend will die, and Durin III doesn't want to help them because he fears that maybe something will happen in the mind that he isn't even sure of. So I don't know. I can definitely see where he's coming from because I know the Balrog will come and we have seen him. But other than that, yeah, I didn't dislike him, didn't really like him either. So middle point is definitely the right place for him. Okay, you know what? Maybe we're not gonna do this alphabetical. Maybe we're gonna stay in this storyline for a second and talk about Elrond. Elrond was amazing. I really loved him. It took me a few episodes to get used to his actor, but now I really adore him, mainly because of the whole Durin relationship he had. But I also really loved his scenes with Galadriel. I think you could really feel their friendship there and his worries about this world. So yeah, he definitely grew a lot on me. Enjoyed him quite a bit. I think he's doing a really good job with this character that we later already know, and which is so much harder to do than, let's say, Arondir, who is a character that we have no clue of, that we don't know. I mean, he has a whole other problem with him getting so much hate because of his skin color and his heritage, and it's just so stupid. And I'm so sorry that he has to go through all of that. But just in terms of character, I think Elrond, or the actor of Elrond, has a pretty tough job because we obviously all know Elrond as Hugo Weaving, and we know how he is in the Lord of the Rings and in the books, and he has to somehow live up to that. While with characters like Arondir or Bronwyn or, I don't know, Adar, let's take another elf, we don't know who they are, so we can't have too high expectations of them. And I think so far he did a really good job giving a younger version of Elrond some life. Yeah, Gil-Galad. I would say Gil-Galad is basically doing the Celebrimbor route just in the other direction. I started excited about this character because I knew him from the books, and maybe that was just a little bit biased for me. But he's just like in this episode showed it to me again that he's just not willing to fully trust Elrond and the rest of them, and especially Galadriel. And yeah, so oof. I'm not sure if I want to put him to C or to D because I don't completely dislike him. Yeah, but he is definitely not going higher than C. Don't mind me. It's just gotten super cold in here. Okay, we kind of finished the Revion Khazad-dûm storyline, so let's go back and finish the Southlanders. Alright, we had Bronwyn and Arondir. Let's talk about Theo. I think Theo, I was really not sure what to think of his character during the season. He was kind of weird, being a little bit too risky and kind of a little bit annoying for me with the blade and everything. But he definitely did a little bit better in the end. I really enjoyed his scenes with Galadriel and Arondir in episode 6 and 7. No, it was 5 where he was talking to Arondir, I think. So yeah, he's okay, but not one of my favorite characters, I would say. So he's going to be for now. Waldreg, oh god. Yeah. He can F off. I hope he died in the midst of that volcanic eruption. He was a great character for specifically that twist, though. That was definitely a surprising moment, but other than that, yeah, I don't like him. Rowan, yeah, he was a little bit annoying at the beginning. He didn't deserve to die, though. Yeah, he's going to see. Then we have Arondir's fellas from the Watchtower. His red was okay. I didn't mind him. He was nothing too spectacular. The other one, yeah, he was a little bit more anti-human, so I'm gonna put him one rank lower than that. Yeah, I don't have much to say about them. They aren't important. They are dead anyway. So yeah, Halbrand. Okay. Was not sure what to think of him as well when we first got introduced to him. Like at least in episode 3. Because I didn't know where his storyline would lead or why he could be important to the show. Definitely started to like him quite a bit in episode 3, and just his time in Numenor was super interesting. Just the way how he already there managed to manipulate everyone to get out of prison and get into the forge, become a smith. I really enjoyed the bonding he had with Galadriel after the battle in episode 6. And just in this episode alone, he was so good. I'm not sure if I want to put him... You know what? I kind of have to. Because it doesn't feel right to let him sit here. I don't know. I would say I definitely enjoy him on the same level as Elrond. but I think I enjoyed him definitely more than Arondir. I'm gonna leave him at A, maybe I will upgrade him later. Let's talk about the Harfoots next. Let's start with our two little main Harfoots, Nori and Poppy. I think I enjoyed both of them quite a lot, especially Poppy was so cute. She was such a good best friend, and it's just so heartwarming to see her being with the Brandyfoot. It was Brandyfoot, yeah, with the Brandyfoot family because she herself doesn't have a family anymore. Yeah, they were great. They were both great actually. I think I enjoyed Poppy a little bit more than Nori actually, to be honest. But I still think Nori was super cute. She was just so curious about the world and trying to learn more. Something that we later see in Bilbo. Something that isn't that common under hobbits or halfwoods in that situation. But I really like that she wanted to help the stranger even though he could be dangerous for them, and he showed that he was kind of dangerous for them even though it wasn't his fault. But she saw the good in him and she wanted to see the good in him. And so yeah, I really, really like her. The Stranger I definitely enjoyed as well. Especially now in the end, in the last two episodes that we saw more of him, that we could finally communicate with him. Do I even have to call him the Stranger anymore? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Gandalf. Let's just call him the Istar until we have full proof. I don't know, we kinda had proof with his quotes. He quoted Gandalf so much in this. I enjoyed this character, and just like with Halbrand, it was just so fun to guess who he is and what his story could be and how he fit into this world. I enjoyed that you could see that he just wasn't used to his power and he wanted to do good. And he felt so sorry each time something happened to Nori. I loved their relationship so much. I think they had some really beautiful bonding scenes. And I'm super excited to see them two on an adventure together. I think that will be quite interesting, even though I will miss Poppy. I think they would be a cute trio. But it's okay that they're going alone. Maybe Poppy can now find a little bit more of a place herself in the community. Help out with the trail finding. She seemed to be quite good at that. I definitely enjoyed Nori's father the most out of the other half-woods that we got introduced to. He seemed quite nice and open, and you could see that Nori had her curiosity but also her kindness from him. I really liked his motivational speech he gave in the last episode. His mother was okay too, but we didn't really get to see much of her. Yeah, and I would put Sadok and Malva there as well. I really didn't like Malva that much in the show, but she kind of redeemed herself a little bit in the last episode, so she is allowed to stay on the sea rank as well. And Sadok definitely was brave in this one. We have also, I only have one of the pictures, but I'm gonna use this picture for all three of them. Our weird cultist ghosts, they kind of reminded me like when they turned into these creatures and vanished. That reminded me a lot of a mixture between the true form of the Nazgul that we saw when Frodo took on the ring and the ghosts in The Return of the King. Like a white version of them. Kind of reminded me of them. Yeah, they were so cool. We said we didn't see much about them. We didn't learn much about them other than that they are just servants of Sauron. I don't know. It just their whole outfits were so cool and their powers were so cool. I kind of just wish we could have seen more of them. Yeah, but they are terrifying. Okay, next we have our main character, Galadriel, who is a difficult character to talk about. Contrary to quite a lot of people who are watching this, I didn't mind Galadriel that much. There are so many people who really can't stand her at all. I wouldn't say she was my favorite character. It was definitely hard to watch her character because she was just so focused on revenge, and at least in the first few episodes, the only thing that makes you still root for her is that you know that she's right and you know that Sauron is still out there. But I can totally understand why all the other characters were trying to get her to let go of that and just take a break for once. We had a little bit of a character arc with her in the season, but she definitely still has a long way to go. She definitely still has a lot of darkness inside of her. We saw that when she was talking to Adar. But also, I mean, Halbrand had her for even if it's just for a tiny little second. I think he was super close to getting her, but she definitely is very determined to fight against him and to seek out that evil. Yeah, I'm gonna put her to B for now. Out of the main characters, I would say she was definitely one of my more or less favorites. I just think I liked her storyline so much more for pretty much everyone and everything else but her, which doesn't really speak for her character. I don't think she was bad or anything. I liked seeing her, and I love her fight scenes. She was so elegant and strong and just graceful with that. So amazing. I don't know. I just think some other characters I definitely enjoyed a lot more. And her brother Finrod, we haven't seen much of him, but I'm gonna put him to his sister. I don't know why I even put him into this. Love that we got to see his actor again though in this episode. All right. Let's get to Numenor. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can already tell about who I wanna talk at last. Let's start with Isildur's friends, Ontamo and Valandil. They were okay. Again, I don't really know why I put them into this ranking, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna throw them in as well. Kinda sad that Ontamo is dead. He seemed like just the pure and naive little friend that gets dragged along his other friends, gets into trouble because of them, not because of himself. Like, especially because of Isildur, probably. And he even only went to Middle Earth because Valandil volunteered first and kind of dragged him into this. So, yeah, he was okay. More on a good okay, I would say. Valandil, I guess two they're okay characters. This kind of doesn't make sense anymore. I can't have them in the same rank as Galadriel, can I? I'm gonna downgrade them, sorry. Him as well, actually, while we're at it. Alright, Míriel. I started this show not really liking Míriel. She was just another queen for me, or queen regent in that case, who didn't really care about the true Numenor. She didn't want to help Galadriel in the slightest in the beginning, but she definitely came around to me, especially during the battle and in the aftermath, especially episode 7, and we saw how much she was trying to help Southlanders and her own people, even to the point of almost or pretty much losing her eyesight. So she's trying to be strong for her people, but she's also willing to actually do something. I can respect that. So I think I'm gonna put her onto B. Pharazôn. Maybe I'm still biased from the books, but yeah, I don't like him, and I don't like his son either. We haven't seen much of him, so he might be another C, but no, I don't know. I don't wanna like him, to be honest. Now to our more important family of Numenor. Let's start with Eärien because I really still don't really know what to think of her. She's kind of more on the Numenorians and Pharazôn side, and that alone makes her a little bit less likable. We just haven't seen much of her. I mean, I guess I could say the same about Kemen and Pharazôn, but yeah, I'm gonna put her on C. With Isildur, I wanna like him, but I think, like with some others, he's definitely not my favorite characters. He got some other characters into trouble quite a lot, especially his two friends with the whole sea god thing and him trying to stow away on the boat. But I mean, I think the show wants us to see him in that way because I mean, we know later on he is getting greedy and he is not giving the ring away, not throwing it into the fire, and he is the reason Aragorn doesn't like his heritage and and the way he is, and he is afraid that he will go the same route as Isildur. And Elendil is actually the one that he looks up to the point of shouting his name in the middle of the battle. Love that. So yeah, I'm gonna put Isildur on a B for now. I think he can do better. Yeah, we had some scenes where I kind of liked him. I still think he's in the okay range. And lastly, I think you all know where he's going. Yes, I am totally biased because of his looks, but also not completely because I think he really is a great character. I think he's so awesome. I love that he stands to Galadriel even though the whole country is pretty much against him. Not the whole country, but pretty much. He's trying his best to help her. He's trying to raise two kids on his own, which must be so hard, especially with someone like Isildur, who just keeps purposely failing at the things he's trying his best to make possible for him. And I'm glad he didn't let him go back onto the ship just because he's his son. But Isildur had to actually kind of earn his way, which he didn't really. But I mean, okay, I guess maybe a little bit. But I mean, he said it in this episode himself. He could have let Galadriel out there. He could have not let his son go along. He could have stayed in Numenor, but he didn't because he just can't. He is an elf friend. We all know that. It's okay. It's who he is, who he's supposed to be. He's helping Míriel quite a lot. I can't think of anything I didn't like about his character. So he's definitely, he deserves the spot for me. Definitely one of my favorites, not just because of his looks. Yeah, let's see. Is there anything? I managed to leave no one unsure. There are definitely a lot of characters where I'm just not sure if I should put them there. But I think I'm still not sure if I shouldn't put Halbrand up here. Just because of today's episode. I don't know. I'm sure my opinion might change if I watch the episode again or the whole show again. But for now, I think that's okay. And oh gosh, I already talked so much again. I didn't think I would spend the whole day just talking about this one episode and this one show. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know if I can say much more about this other than I had so much fun. I love this. Is it a perfect adaptation from the books? Definitely not. Do I care? Definitely not. You don't have to compare everything to the books all the time or to something else. I think you can just enjoy things on their own. I think it is impossible to do a perfect adaptation of the Silmarillion. It will never happen. But I think this was fine. I had so much fun. I enjoyed being back. I am so excited for the next season. Can't wait to see that. To everyone who's still hating on this, I know this means nothing if I say this, but do yourself a favor and don't watch the next season. You will be so much happier and more carefree in your life if you don't consume so much negativity in your life. Embrace things a little bit more, enjoy things a little bit more. And if you don't enjoy something, don't dwell on it too much, don't rub it in other people's face, and just ignore it. Life is so much better if you ignore the things you don't like, trust me. Yeah, for everyone else, what did you think about this episode? What did you think about this show, about the characters? Who is your favorite character? Who is your least favorite character? What was your favorite episode? I think mine was episode 6 or this one. And what are your predictions for season 2? How will we continue with this? I am super excited to hear from your thoughts. I am super thankful for everyone watching along with me. Thank you for all your comments. I had so much fun discussing this with all of you. Hopefully some of you will stay. Maybe I can interest you in the 2 other shows that I'm doing right now, The Legend of Korra and The Leftovers. I do have some other projects coming up very soon, but I want to focus on finishing those 2. Maybe some of you are willing to stay. If not, thank you for staying here for this time being. I hope you had fun, and I hope that maybe someday we will see each other, if not at least in season 2 of the show. Until then, stay safe, have a great time, bye!